All right. Well, I have that look on my face. It's the cat that ate the canary. I got a little story to tell you. You're going to like it. It's got a happy ending. Those are the best stories. Two things you want in a good story. It has to start off with once upon a time, and it has to have a happy ending. Otherwise, I'm just not interested. So, once upon a time, Fridays for me is always kind of fun, and we've talked about this in the past. In the evening times, winding down from a long week, get on the old Facebook there and looking through Marketplace. I'm starting to look at yard sale postings because I'm big on yard sales, and I tell y'all, you never know what you're going to find. There's something about the feel of a used tool, an older tool, not some cheap tool that's been abused, but when you find tools from the 60s and the 70s, the metal just feels different. The knurling is worn down from the previous owner. It's just comfortable. I know that sounds very weird, but you pick up your father's tools or your grandfather's tools, they're heavier, they're better made. The materials are just better. So anyways, I'm always looking for old things like that. I don't necessarily want to call them antiques, but I like old tools. Just kind of a soul to them. But you never know what you may find at a yard sale. It's a great place for small engines. If you're looking for a cheap small engine project, if you're just starting out, if you're watching this channel and you're a young person and you're just kind of getting your feet wet with maybe flipping items or small engines in general, a yard sale is a great place to find a mower or anything with a motor on it, old four-wheeler, something like that. Well, I recorded the actual posting because I didn't believe it either. And I'm going to show you right now of how this developed and kind of give you a little voiceover here. So I'm looking through the different yard sale listings. It's Friday evening. It's about 6 o'clock. I'm kind of planning out Saturday morning. I am on call but don't have to report to work. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll slip off in the morning and do a few yard sales, and I'll click on a couple. And then I see one that says neighborhood yard sale. Now, a neighborhood yard sale, if you're new to yard sales, that's where a couple of houses, sometimes a lot, sometimes a few, will get together and they collectively all have a yard sale on the same day. And then they all advertise it as a neighborhood yard sale. And so you can go to one neighborhood and hit, 5 or 10 yard sales. So generally there's a lot of diversity in the items and it's generally a good day. So I clicked on it. It had this dresser. I don't really do furniture, but I clicked on it anyway. It had some other photos, and I swiped to the left. And well, you probably see now on the screen what I saw. And I swiped back to the right because I'm thinking, why did my phone go to my gallery? But did I change websites here? Who has a 350X in a yard sale? Well, they did. And there it is. 1985. 350X. This is it. This is the king of the hill. This is Big Daddy 4-stroke in a yard sale. I kid you not. I never would have believed it, really. It's it's a 20-footer. We're going to pick it apart. But that's not being ugly. It's here. It's real. It runs and drives. The guy rode it over to my truck to load it up. I mean, it leaks fuel out of the petcock, but it runs and drives already like it is. It started. It had dew on it. In the mornings. It was an early morning. It had dew on it. Had spent the night outside. He fired it up on the 4th kick. 4 kicks and she come to life. Now I'm going to tell you, she's custom. Look at that. We got a chrome Kickstarter and chrome pegs. Look at that. Chrome brake rubber. That's fancy. That's fancy. You just don't get that everywhere. But she's a 20-footer. We can pick her apart, and we're going to. We're going to take a deep dive here and look and see what we got. We got some aftermarket grips here. We got some Scott grips. These are not Honda grips, but we do have original handlebars. We've got an original brake line, which I know that sounds weird, but This is an expensive line, and this, you see this plastic coating here? It's coming off. The sun's gotten to this one. It's been sitting outside. But you know, most of it's there. That brake line alone is over $100. Just the brake line. Look at the routing of it. It's correct. This is the way they were supposed to be routed. Again, originality. What's original and what's not. We got a nice looking headlight shield. It's got a little crack here in the front, but nothing, you know, nothing bad. Looks like somebody had maybe a reflector here. They drilled a hole here and here. Then the fender extension normally comes out here. So that's, I don't know what this was, there was a bracket that ran across there, maybe if it was just two reflectors, don't know. But original front fender, we do have some spider cracking or checking, but it's not spray painted. And honestly, I would rather see this than somebody spray paint them. We've got a metal tank that when I show this to you, look at the metal tank. I'll tell you what, let me get a flashlight. Look at that tank. That tank is amazing. Yeah. And that's not a coating either. That's the original tank. I don't know how that lasted like that. That's cool. We've got some, you know, we've got some dents and dings and scratches, and you know, it's 34 years old. It shows that. We've got a little hole in our tank wing, but you know, it's all here, and it runs. We've got a chain guard. Nobody ever keeps those on there. Got our original skid plates on the bottom. Let's see. We are missing the skid plate on the rear, but you know, that's part of it. It's here. We got the right wheels. We got the brakes. The front brake actually works. The rear brakes do not work. We've got original wheels, front and rear. Original grab bar, though it's scratched up, it's in good shape. It doesn't look to be broken or anything. It's solid. We did pick the machine up by that. Somebody's done some monkey business back here on this brake. I don't know what this extension here is or why they did that, but they did. The brake caliper actually should sit here. All that should roll forward. We'll take a look at that. We'll see what's going on. The master cylinder is disconnected. You can see the master cylinder is disconnected up there. We've got an FMF pipe. I've never seen one. I've got to do some research on that, if that's a real FMF pipe or is that something that somebody put a sticker on. I just don't know. It's definitely baffled on the inside, so that's pretty cool. This machine is loud. The owner fired it up and drove it across the yard, and it's really loud. But this is a slip-on silencer. You see we've got some exhaust back here where it slips in, so it's kind of, the pressure's pushing it back. But that's interesting. I've never seen an FMF full exhaust, but it does have a full exhaust. If you look at the size of these pipes here, they're bigger. The header's actually bigger in diameter than a factory pipe. Seat's been recovered, I'm sure. There's no way that's original. Just a beautiful seat. Somebody's polished this one up a little bit, y'all. I think they've added a seat and odds and ends. I think we've got new fork boots from Honda on here. They look like the right ones. They don't have the bands, but they look correct, the right color. Let's pull the fenders and see what she looks like underneath. Latch is there. We know how hard those are to find. Original fenders. It does not have the mudguard on the back, but original fenders nonetheless. We've got a customized air box here. Somebody's poked some holes in it for extra breathing. Now, y'all, if you're going to do that, you've got to change the jets in your carburetor. Don't think you can just do this and everything will be okay. If you're going to put in more air, you got to put in more fuel. Got a Moose racing filter. Just nice to see a filter on here. Everything is in the right spot. CDI is in the right spot. This is where it belongs, even though that looks a little funny. That's it. We've got a vent coming up out of the crankcase, is all the way up here on the frame. That is always missing. This snorkel here is always missing. It's this kind of a bear to get put back in. it gets left off and lost to history. You know, it just goes away. But wow, frame looks good. Tail section looks good. I don't see any cracks in the frame. These grab bars always break right here on back here by the second bolt. They're loose. This is bolts loose, but they always break right here. The metal, when they pressed it, it just gets really thin, and all the stress gets right there and cracks it. But the tail looks good. The frame looks good. We've got our adjustable rear suspension. This is always wonky and messed with. The little knob breaks off. Just, you know, common things that go wrong with these, or, you know, people mess with them and they don't put them back like they're supposed to. Check that out. I haven't even rode it yet. I haven't checked the clutch. The seller fired it up. We made the deal. He drove it over to the truck. I put it in the truck. I brought it home and dumped it out here. So I'm going to start it for the first time since I own it. So let's see. I know it's going to leak fuel, so we just kind of had a plan on that. It's in neutral. Chrome kicker, that's fancy. Carb's a little sticky. Yeah, you can feel that. It's returning, but there's about half throttle right there. You know what it is? It's just a lot of play in the cable. We do not have emergency brake cable on this machine. Somebody's taken that off. There is a block off plate on that. Just kind of noticing stuff. You know how it is. After you get it home is when you start noticing stuff. Let's see. Choke. That's tough. We got adjustment on that. Whew. I don't think this decompression is coming in on time. That's better. Let's see what this does. All right, well, there you go. She runs. Took a little bit. That decompression system was pretty hard to kick over. I thought I could push through it, but it was just easier to adjust it. We're going to do a video on just adjusting that. Things that also get missed over, your regulator here in the back, the little bracket that holds the wires together, this always breaks off. Just a lot of little things. I think this is a solid machine, y'all. I really do. I didn't check for headlights. I turned the choke off. Let's fire it back up. Those are always fun. It's a little loud. It's a little early. It does want to start on choke. Of course, it's cold. Let's see if we've got headlights. Y'all will be the first to know. All right, turns off in both directions. Well, There we go. So that's that has got to be my best, and I've had a few, but that's got to be my best yard sale find to date. Y'all guys, you got to get out there. You got to be quick. You got to find this stuff. Yard sale buried in a bunch of pictures of furniture. I don't know, but I didn't get any sleep last night. I mean, it kept me up all night without going to be able to get there and get this thing secured, and you know, just wow, it's pretty cool. So what's it need? Well, certainly it needs rear brakes. I don't know, we'll have to dig into this one. I've got some other projects in front of it, but it already runs and drives. This master cylinder is not hooked up. Looks like we're missing the buckle that goes here to here. The linkage is chrome. Look at that. That's fancy. This is the fanciest rig I've ever had. Yeah. So we got to find out if this master cylinder is working or not. Does it not line up? Kind of wonder what somebody else figured out first. Yeah, that fits. So we're missing the buckle. We may be able to find one of those off of something else. Once we do that, we'll verify fluid, which there is none. Never is. So we'll verify fluid, leaks, that kind of thing. We'll figure out the master cylinder. Does this goofy thing bother me? Yeah, it bothers me. We'll see what it takes. I think there's just a shorter one from the factory, and that causes the brake to come up more, probably 11 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock. Exhaust is a little loud. I mean, I don't hate it, but it's a little loud. I'm wondering what the carb's jetted at. It actually started pretty good. Once I got the decompression dialed in a little bit, it was a lot easier to kick. Not knowing if it needed to be on choke or not. We've got some flat tires, which the seller told me that. He said they don't hold air, but that's okay. We're just airing down for maximum traction. Do some rock crawling, but the frame's good. Tank's good. This was a win. This was a huge win for a 350X. I'm excited as I can be about that. All right, guys, that's it. That's yard sale. I don't know what else to tell you. That's a home run if I've ever seen one. That is a solid machine. We'll go back. We'll put the right grips on it. Get the tires fixed. Fix the brakes. It needs a petcock. Already got those ordered. You know, you can get those through 223 Cycles. Y'all reach out to Curdy. He may or may not have them on his website. You can send him an email. He is a great source for things other than carburetors, but certainly fuel related. So reach out to Curdy at 223 Cycles if you're looking for petcock or fuel line or any of the other parts that surround a carburetor. Of course, always go to him for your carburetor. We'll see how this one runs before we pull it apart. I don't want to ride it really until I get some brakes on it. I saw the seller ride it, so I know it moves. I know the clutch engages, disengages. Headlights work high and low. It always amazes me that something this old, the lights still work from being out in the sun and beat and banged on for all these years. Tail light still works. I mean, it's an easy fix if it doesn't, but that's not my point. My point is when you bring them out and they still work after all this period of time, that just always impresses me. The first machine I ever fired up from the dead literally come out of a junkyard and the lights still work. That was crazy. So anyways, there you go. There's your video for the day. I just beside myself. Y'all, you got to get out there and check out them yard sales. You never know what you're going to find. As always, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in a couple days.